hand, today's reading is going to be where do your gifts lie, but it's going to be loosely based on palmistry for two reasons. I think it's really important to introduce something a bit different, and if you don't know anything about palmistry, it may just be an introduction that gets you interested in it, and also for us to see life differently. I always think that the old, is it maxim, motto, I don't know, as above so below, to me I translate that as in there's lots going on outside in the universe that affects us, to do with astrology, inside ourselves, our motives, our intentions, even the way that we look physically, all that type of thing. But also your hands and your feet particularly, and your eyes, they can give you very strong inklings, but it's more than that, of your health, your disposition again, and lots of different things about you. So it's really interesting to look at yourselves and look outside ourselves and bring it both together. There's a line in the Bible, I think, about that. I don't know the Bible very well, but it's basically, yeah, understand yourself first. Something like that, probably taken out. Anyway, let's not go down that track. So this is my hand. I drew it earlier, and I feel I look like I'm auditioning for Ghostbusters, because that does not look sexy, does it? Your hand shape in particular can give an impression of your disposition. Again, the short fingers, if people tend to have shorter fingers, they tend to be quicker with regards to their mind and their speech. I had a boss once who did an essay or a dissertation for his university, I don't know, thesis, whatever you call it, on how fast people eat or how fast they talk compared to what sports they were interested in. Like, were they interested in long distance running, or were they interested in sprinting? And I don't know what he actually found of that. But you often find people with shorter fingers tend to be quite quick with regards to speech and mind. Doesn't mean they've got much depth there, because it's like pros and cons on both sides. Sadhguru, tiny fingers. And my boss had tiny fingers too. When he was drunk at a party once, he actually related that to a different part of his body, and we like to all try and forget that moment. You get people with long fingers that tend to be more slower thinking, possibly more earthy. I'm thinking of George Clooney here. He's got very long fingers. I know that he's got Saturn in there quite strong, I think, and he's Taurus. It depends on the shape of the fingers, conical fingers, spatula fingers. It's all lots of different thoughts there. But this is what we are looking at today. We're going to look at the mounds. If you put your hand like that and you're almost looking down like a ski ramp, see which mounds are the most prominent in your hand. These are the mounds that we've got looking at this side, starting with a small finger. This one is Mercury. So if your Mercury mound is quite large, it may indicate that you are very interested in communicating, or your thoughts, your mind, and reading and speech, and perhaps language in some way. And it can also introduce different aspects like siblings and short journeys if you relate it to astrology as well. So that's what we're going to be looking at with regards to one part of where your gifts may lie. When we do a tarot reading on that particular part, it may indicate that may be a strength or something you need to work on. The second one we're going to look at is the sun. The sun is the centre, really. It's how you express yourself and your ego. It can also be things like your achievements and your honour in this lifetime. A lot of the time people are looking for significant markings on the sun to show that they're on the right track, or that they are expressing themselves fully. I've got what looks like Julia Donaldson's stickman on there, so it looks something like this. I'm trying my hardest to turn it into a star, and it never has. But that's what it means, to be honest, that you're on the right track, or you're displaying who you're meant to be displaying, your inner self. The third one, the centre finger here, is Saturn. So Saturn is time, persistence, anything that is earthly, but to be honest, in a very positive way, it's how well you manifest things. Are you actually doing what you're meant to be doing here? Not just thinking about it, not just being, showing off about it, but are you actually getting it done? So that's where it's like the trudge and the time and the pushing comes into play, and your ability to be able to do that. Your next finger, which is your ring finger, is Jupiter. You often find a strong Jupiter mount in people that teach. people that lead in some ways, leadership qualities, and oftentimes people that are interested in learning. So you've got all those Sagittarius, Jupiter type thoughts and activities going on there. Your next mount down here is the Mount of Venus. There's different interpretations of this. I mean, it's love. Venus is love. But to be honest, what I've noticed mostly, is that a good word? No, not really, is that it's called the mouse, isn't it, this part of your thumb? That people with very, very prominent mouses or Venus parts of their, well, the Mound of Venus, tend to be quite lusty. Really sort of got a good sense of getting their sexual needs met. I can't think of a different way to put that. So that may be something interested. If you've got a big dip in there, it tends to mean that you're not really interested. You may be more mentally orientated. Now, and that is basically what we're looking at. We're going to have a quick look at the love line to see possibly, what I'm thinking of with the love line is how far does it go? Now, if your love line's going to here, it may be a little bit stunted. If it's all the way up here, you've probably got a lot to give. You're probably very open to love, but sometimes it can be a little bit needy. So you want a moderate type of line going on there. And sometimes it can split into different areas as well, which may have some meaning. But we're just going to look at the love line here. We're also going to look at the headline. Headlines that go straight across tend to be somebody who is quite centred in the way that they think, quite methodical, quite straightforward, quite earthy. If they slope down here, it tends to be somebody who's more imaginative. Tends to be. I'm not really good at palmistry, but I've read a few books, and yeah, it's not something I practice. People get me to read their palms when they're drunk, and I'm like, I really don't know what I'm talking about, but this is as much as I do know. The lifeline will come down here, so we're going to be looking at love, your headline as well, to how straight and how focused you are, which is probably going to be a bit more Saturnian. And then we're going to be looking at your lifeline to see what comes up with the cards. So that's what we're doing today. Just before I move on to your choices, excuse me, that was a bit loud. I've got 3 books behind me, which you may be interested in. These are the 3 books that I would put basically as beginner, intermediate, and one's really interesting with regards to relationships. And more advanced, and I'll tell you why it's more advanced. You've got The Practice of Palmistry by, oh my God, who is this? Something Saint Germain. Yeah, I don't know, actually looked who she wrote this. This is my first one, I think. So it goes, oh, well, as you can see, it goes through all the different lines and the mounts and where you've got stars or different bits and, yeah, like stars or tridents and things. The second one I picked up, I was talking about this morning. Every time I go abroad, I like to go to a bookshop and buy something new. And I think I bought this in Invermere in Canada. Anyway, got a conversation going about wanting to go abroad again. So this is Love in the Palm of Your Hand. So basically how you love and what type of lover you're going to bring towards you. This is a really interesting book. I would say it's medium to advanced, to be honest, but really good. If you've ever, we used to photocopy our hands when I was, well, probably a lot younger. I don't say we, basically, it was just me, because nobody else would accompany me doing something like that. And your hand lines do change. Your hand lines do change as you change yourself. So that is a good medium book. An advanced book, this is a fantastic book. Palmistry in the Inner Self by Ray Douglas. What this book does that makes it more advanced, it will take all the concepts and it doesn't just give them in like chapters, it pulls them all together and it gives you a personality in a hand. But I think this guy's English, I don't know. Yeah, he's Welsh. Oh, lovely. If I knew where he lived, I would definitely ask him if he would do my hand, because out of all the books that I've got, this one is somebody who thinks himself, I think, is probably what interested me in it. It's not just rehashing things that everybody else knows. Love this one. So that is what's going to happen today. A quick introduction on palmistry. I'm going to use this now to organise your reading, to see where your gifts lie. And these are your 3 choices. Number 1 is the love heart. Number 2 is the cyclist. Let's squeeze that in there. And number 3 is 2 peacocks. There you go. So if you want to take your choice, and we'll mix both together in some way. Basically, it's just a layout, but if you want to take your choice, we'll get stuck in. Right, so let's start. So let's go in a fan hand-shaped type way. We're going to start off with Mercury, which is your little finger. Hopefully, before you've started, you've looked to see which mounts are developed. So this is going to give you an idea whether it's something that you're already predisposed to be quite good at anyway. You know, whether you are quite good at talking, communication. You may actually be really good at languages. You just may be somebody who enjoys having a chin wag. It's more of an intellectual, it's an air type experience, your thoughts and reading and communicating. What else is it? Basically, it's your mind. People that enjoy understanding. And if it's very strong, there may be a lot more trying to articulate and understand things and actually doing anything about it. Let's have a look. The High Priestess with Mercury, to me, and the... oh my gosh, okay, both of these cards are very, what I assume are very spiritual type cards. The High Priestess and the Temperance card. The Temperance card is... it's somebody who stands outside of chaos and understands it, to me. It's being calm and being centred and finding some sort of balance inside yourself when everything is going to pot, which is very much needed in these days. Excuse me. The High Priestess here, sorry, it just clicked off then. I was just saying that the Temperance card is standing outside of chaos in a very balanced way and trying to detach from it. And then the High Priestess there is a subliminal card, which tends to try and read the purpose or the signals or the signs behind situations rather than what's right in front of them. To have those two cards tied toward your Mercury in astrology would be like a Mercury-Neptune contact, or possibly it should be Jupiter, but to me the Temperance card may be, with the way I've explained it, a Mercury-Uranus type of contact. So to me that is extremely strong, and I feel that in some way you've chosen a path where using what I guess are esoteric pointers or values or systems in some way gives you a real insight into what's going on behind that curtain, a real insight into finding a sense of balance inside yourself. Both very strong though. So it'd be really interesting as we go on to look at your Saturn to see if your Saturn is weak. If your Saturn's strong, it's a bit like having a strong adrenals and a strong thyroid or a strong pituitary gland. And that combination often makes fantastically compassionate leaders. So you could be on that track. At the moment, your mind definitely flips towards understanding subtleties to see the bigger picture. So that's what I've got there. Your next one is the Sun. So the Sun, as I said earlier, is the way that we express ourselves, and in palmistry it can have a lot to do with achievement. So what I'm looking for when I'm doing the Sun card here is whether you're on the right path type question and answer, and whether you've got a chance to really have some position where you shine in life. And that will be different for everybody. We've all got different motives and talents. So the Sun card, King of Swords, and the Ten of Cups. To me, this has got a feeling that you possibly, because of these cards here with the Mercury, being very sort of spiritual, I suppose. I can't think of different words there. But the King of Swords being quite mental, and the Ten of Cups being quite compassionate. There may be a way that you express. So you may be, I don't know, a tarot reader, astrologer, or even, no, I'm not going to say reflexology. But you could, yeah, well, it could be. It's anything that's subtle, I suppose. You may actually have an intellectual way of explaining that, possibly. And the Ten of Cups, with the Temperance card being that equilibrium outside of chaos, make people feel a little bit more calm or more at ease with what's going on around them. So it's like a healing profession possibly here, and that can go into many different types of jobs. It's somebody who turns up in work and understands people's motives, understands the situation that they're in, understanding that it's all part of that, the fantastically funny and the drudge of life, and then can either articulate it or can just understand it themselves, but make the Ten of Cups there makes other people feel more at ease or more at home here, not here, but in the world. So again, like a healing type profession there in some way. Subtleties, mind, comfort is what I would read there. And the way that you're going to shine is by using your mind to give comfort to people, but being able to read behind situations. Right, next one is Saturn. So can you actually stick at your intentions? Are you one of those people in January that make these lists and then don't do them? I'm not saying anything about that myself. Do you have strong Saturn? Saturn tends to be I think this is right. Saturn tends to be the spleen. I think this is right. If you've got a weak spleen, you can normally have what I guess is like a wet or damp composition. So you can tend to be like a little bit snotty or a little bit mucousy and things. I'm not sure about this, but I think, and you can't take dairy very well. I haven't got much earth in me at all. And whenever I have acupuncture, my nose bleeds. And the acupuncture lady said it's to do with your spleen. Not bleeds as in like floods bleeds, but it just basically, when I blow my nose, there's blood in there. And I took mushrooms the other day. And my nose was bleeding again. No, it's not like something out of Pulp Fiction, but it's just, yeah, something's going, this earth basically. How earthy are you? Do you get things done? Can you manifest what you're here to manifest? Oh, that's cheered me up. Knight of Wands. Oh, I like it. Knight of Wands. Got a bit of drive there. And the Seven of Swords. So, okay, this to me, Seven of Swords, Knight of Wands, great at starting. Seven of Swords would be somebody that basically flips out sideways halfway through. Great at starting, lack of persistence is what it's like school report now, isn't it? Lack of persistence, I would say there. So maybe that's why you're so good at this. People that can actually balance out the more spiritual side with the push, a bit like the adrenal, sort of thyroid pituitary type people, are quite rare, I would say. I always think Einstein was interesting because he was scientific and spiritual at the same time, which is a hard combination. Or difficult combination to find. So I was going to say here, more persistence in these great sort of, your ability to read situations, your ability to be very subtle and very sort of intuitive. Possibly you'll get more out of your sun sign, or maybe your sun sign, if you persisted a little bit longer. Oh my God, it does sound like your school report, doesn't it? Okay, let's have a look at Jupiter. Leadership, teaching and learning. Let's move these over a little, see if we can fit them all in. I'm going to force it now. I'm going to force it till it fits. Ace of Pentacles. Three of Pentacles. That's nice because your Saturn has got a bit of a question mark over it here. So the Ace of Pentacles is your ability to start things. That to me is like the courage and the confidence to be able to have new ideas and to start moving them. As I said, you're good at starting things here. The Three of Pentacles suggests that you're a group person, that you possibly work well with a team, or you possibly like to be in a partnership, and you've got skills that it probably would pay you to link up with somebody, because you may find somebody where your weaknesses are and they may have strengths. So you have the ideas, you've got, you know, you're bright and you get things started, and the person tends to encourage you to keep going, maybe. You know, like where you started, so you're going to keep doing it. And those combinations, I think, with you would be very good at bringing out the best in you. Last one. I'm going to actually not really force squashing them in. I want to, but I don't think is it going to. I think I have. What you've got for your Venus sign here, whether actually, to be honest, I'm seeing whether you're a lusty devil or not. You've got the Fool card there, which is Uranus, which is not particularly lusty. What is this one? The Five of Swords. Okay, again, what I'm thinking here with regards to love, you love falling in love. You enjoy being chased or being the chaser, possibly the chaser with the King of Wands there. And then you may lose interest. To have the Five of Swords there, if somebody doesn't love you back as much as you would like to be loved, you can lose interest in that. So there may be some Leo component there. With the Five of Swords, if there's any competition or whether it's complicated, you're interested. You know, it's like the idea is very satisfying, but you can, again, I'm not going to say procrastinate, but change direction if it's not going well quite quickly. So there's a bit of like fire in here, possibly. Those qualities we just talked about, I normally attribute in my little head to like Sagittarius and Aries, not so much Leo because it's fixed. So that is what I've got there. So with the line we've got here, just looking at your mounts, your talents tend to lie, I would guess, here, more in the mind area, more in being able to think and articulate and languages and explain and symbolism and anything that is below the surface, anything that's not understood very easily or not accepted. You probably got, especially with Uranus there, a real desire to dig deeper to bring the truth out. And that can be many different areas. So you may work in journalism, or you may actually be in a healing profession as well. It can go either ways, but the mind is important to you. I'm not going to talk about the things that you're not doing very well, like your lack of persistence here, because the title is Where Do Your Gifts Lie? And that, to me, is your strongest pile there. And your leading pile, maybe, yeah. These two piles, it's being intelligent, I guess, intelligent of the world with everything that is not seen, not just what's in front of you like a book. It's like you can almost like a chironic feeling, very sensitively read situations and people. But with the Ace of Pentacles and the Three of Pentacles here, you're probably very good at picking it up and working with it. Your ideas will flourish, whether you maintain them is a different thing, but I think the Three of Pentacles there, to always work with people around you, is going to stimulate you because you've got a little feeling of fire in here, and you may actually be able to swap skills, is what I would say there. So let's have a look at your love line. This is the best I can do. Let me pull these up here. To try and get some sort of indication of what your love line may be like. No. Okay. Well, here we are. I am sounding like a scurry pot. I really am. The Emperor card here, to me, my first thoughts, the fire that you may have inside you that I possibly touched on before, and that Saturnian bit that I felt that you probably didn't persevere as long as you could you could do. The Emperor card as well. And the fact that you may jump out of situations over here with regards to love makes me think that you may have a love line that goes somewhere in towards your Saturn hand, your Saturn finger. So what that would mean is that different things here, that you want love to make sense. You want it to be practical and it's got to be able to work. And you may actually fall in love very quickly, but if it's not working, then you're not going to stay in the situation. If it's not, you know, say somebody's already taken or in another relationship, it's going to be interesting to begin with because you're going to be quite engulfed with a passion, with trying to read the situation. But when you actually get into the situation, you may think, oh, actually, it's not worth it. So you may do this like Five of Swords and pull yourself out of a situation. The Judgment card and the Emperor suggests you've got a very strong need to express your love nature. But these are quite tough cards to have in a love line, a love line, Mr. Lover. The Nine of Swords can often be quite painful as well. So how I would interpret this would be looking for a soulmate, the Judgment card, being quite tough with regards to your decisions, being all in romantically because of this romantic side inside your mind, and then going all in, jumping into it with the Fool card over there on your love, on the Venus type bound to your finger, excuse me. And then actually judging it quite harshly once you're in it, and it perhaps not measuring up in some way. So you could have a love line that goes to your Saturn mount or stops just underneath your Saturn mount or just round about there. If it goes up to your Jupiter mount, you're going to be all in this. You're going to be all in let's love, let's play, let's imagine, let's just... And it can go a little bit too far. To have a balance is perfect. But I feel here that I wonder whether you can be quite harsh on yourself at times. And there's always that saying, isn't there, which always fascinates me. If you're harsh on yourself, you're going to be harsh on others. There's just no way that you just cut it off. And I don't know whether that's true or not, because I think lots of sayings are bandied about, and I don't know. But it's interesting here, because I feel in love, you are romantic, searching for a soulmate, and then when you get into a relationship, it's got to work. So it's, you know, it's got to really work. And to me, the Emperor card here, it's got to be passionate, and it's also got to be, I'm going to say financially viable because of the Capricorn bit of this card here. So that's funny, isn't it? Because I feel that your Saturn mount was, which one was that one? Was this one here, wasn't it? Yeah, maybe with the Nine of Swords, if it doesn't live up to your practical wishes, then you maybe with the Seven of Swords here and the Fool card there on your Venus mount, you may just step out sideways. So a tall order there, I suppose. Let me just stick those there. Let's have a look at the next ones. Your headline. So in some way your headline, I feel, is going to mix in with your Mercury line and with your Saturnian line here. Mount, sorry. Okay, Four of Swords and the Ace of Swords with your head, to me, makes me think that you don't, because you've got such what I guess is a Neptunian type way of thinking. Nothing's got borders, everything's open. You probably live your dreams all the way through the day. You think, oh my gosh, it feels almost real. And then you turn, you walk into that person you've had a dream about, and it was like some sort of sexy dream, and you can't look them in the eyes. That type of feeling, and it probably is something like, I don't know. I'm not going to say anything there about the person. It'd be somebody you shouldn't be fancying. The Four of Swords and the Eight of Swords down here for your headline make me think that you aren't very confident with regards to being straight. These cards and these cards will link together. So I can give you an example of this, a bit like in my head, this is how I'm thinking. It's like a Mercury opposite Neptune type contact in astrology. So that will be somebody who, if you're, let's just say you're an astrologer, if you're asked to articulate how astrology works, you would lose it. You would really not be able to do it. It's that type feeling. You may be quite passionate and quite, is the word emotive, with regards to lots of different subjects, but as soon as somebody asks you to articulate it or to prove it, then you're out there. It's that type of feeling, because that is based on emotion and it's based on perception. And this is here, the Four of Swords is almost like lying low. It's like hiding. You know when you pretend to faint when somebody asks you a question you don't know the answer? No, I've not done it, but I thought about it often. And the Eight of Swords card here is being locked inside your own head. Lots of thoughts, very magical, very creative. When people ask you to articulate it or explain, you want to split. That is what I would say here with regards to your headline. So possibly your headline slopes down to your... So I've got to do it on this hand. My God, have I got one? Yes, I have. To the Mount of the Moon down here. Sorry, I'm showing it over here. It's here, the Mount of the Moon. Because some go straight across. I had a friend whose heart line, we used to take the mickey out of her. It's called a simian line, where the heart line links with the head. And I think it's called a simian line because monkeys have it. But most of the time they're split. So I feel here you're definitely more creative. You're definitely more imaginative. You probably are very artistic. You probably fall in love very easily. You're probably very passionate in this spread here. So that is where your gifts lie. It's like express them, but it's also a case of realise your shortcomings too. Because if you can amp up your shortcomings, again, this is a difficult thing because maybe these shortcomings that you've got in this life, who knows whether you've overdone it in a past life and you don't need to be concentrating on it. But I think a balance is always called for. So if you can amp up possibly being able to be a little bit more centred in reality as well. It would be a great mix. It would be a great mix. Your next one is going to be your... Oh, don't fall. Oh, my God. It's not that exciting. The cards kept falling off the end. Your lifeline. Now, lifelines. Lifelines are interesting. I've got a little story here about a lifeline. I'm not going to put too much detail into it, but if you've got a lifeline with like a box around it, so this line that goes... Oh, no, sorry, wrong one. I'm making that up. Ignore me. I'm thinking of a sun line there. So your lifeline. So this is basically summing it up, isn't it? Is your life. The Ten of Swords. Four of Swords again. Yep. The Magician. Okay. This to me, because of what I'm sort of picking up here, is... a discrepancy, you ready for this? A discrepancy between being able to ground yourself in practicalities, but also a little bit of being too judgmental on yourself in relationships and maybe having high expectations in relationships. It feels like with the Four of Swords and the Ten of Swords here that you may go through lessons that may feel quite difficult early on in life because of the way that these cards go. With the Magician card at the end, it feels like anything that's difficult, or not anything, but a few situations that you've been in that have been difficult in life are those lessons that are going to project you onto the right track. And I've been thinking a lot this weekend. I've been thinking a lot this weekend about the number 12 and it being the signs in astrology. You know, the 12 being basically the chart in astrology. The 12 is the 3, which is enjoyment and fun and creativity. But the 4 as well, which is earth and getting things done, manifesting things here. I feel that you get lessons in some way. When the Magician card is then, that's when you are able to integrate the 2 here. The creativity, the enjoyment, but in a very Saturnian way where you actually do make it become a reality. So you may have had difficult childhood, or you may have had a couple of knocks in life. The Magician card here is that gives you that sort of toughness that you need to be able to express what you're here to express. So to me, to pull this all together, which has been quite a journey, your talents lie in your sensitivity, your compassion, your understanding of people, your ability to read situations, your understanding of probably vibration and emotion. And I feel that a bit like a chironic feeling, your sensitivities may have basically, and possibly your innocence here, because it feels like you like to jump into love, but then reprimand yourself, or it isn't quite what you expect because you don't want to get hurt and you pull backwards. I say pull out sideways. So with these cards here, I've got a funny feeling that your sensitivities and those things that trip you up in life have caused you to feel maybe a little bit wounded. But the Magician card at the end is a promise that they've all got some sort of meaning, hopefully, and that you will eventually, if not already, with the Magician card there, use those gifts and all the tough lessons you've had as well to be able to flourish, to bring out these qualities, these subtleties, and to be able to apply them with the Saturnian qualities here. Not so much in love. Don't use the Saturn in love. Use it in your life to get things moving and persistence and stick to things. Okay, I'm going to go there because I feel these are long readings. And I also feel on YouTube, I don't know, I think I talk too much as well. People don't really enjoy long readings. But I don't know. I think a lot of that may depend on your age as well. If you're young and you've been brought up with, iPads and things, and literally been brought up with them, everything has to be quite fast. My son can't sit and watch a slow film. He's got to be fast moving. I can tell the film he's going to like. It will have lots going on, and it'll be chop, 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 chop. Well, my husband's favourite film is The Descendants, because he's old. Right, I'm going to leave you there. Thank you very much for being here. Thank you very much for spending time with me. If you do like the readings, check out the website, which is huluppu.co.uk. I put the readings out on Sunday nights. I've also got a Patreon group as well, where I put readings out every week or sometimes more. And there's a lot more contact with the people there. Anyway, love you and leave you. Thank you. Bye. Okay, pile number 2. Let's have a look at you. Okay, let's go with it. Let's see what we've got. Let's go through each of the mounts first. Mounts or mounds? Mounds? That's a bit rude. Mounts. Both of them could be. Moundy mounts. Let's go with them. Let's have a look at your Mercury mounty mound first. To see how strong it turns up with regards to how you communicate. What's going on in your mind? Is your mind and your mental capacities, are those your strengths? Or those your biggest bugbears? I don't know. Your speech, how you articulate yourself, languages, your ability to be quite quick, or whether you're quite slow with regards and methodical and very thorough. Who knows? Let's see. Your mind. King of Swords, strong. The Fool, extremely strong. Okay, so this is really strong here. To have these air cards on a mound that is airy anyway, this to me speaks, is probably where your gifts do lie, to be honest, because they're such a strong beginning, is that you probably are very interested in understanding concepts, ideas, reading, formulating what I guess is your own, because the Fool card is very individual, your own, almost like your own style of living, your own thought processes. It's almost like you're a walking thesis. It's like you get lots of information. We don't use the word thesis. Why am I using that? We use dissertation. It's like you get lots of information from lots of different varieties, because this is going to be quite curious as well, being Mercury, of course, and being so strong. You're going to pull them inside yourself, and you're going to try and make what I guess is your own understanding of life. You're going to be somebody that picks up ideas that nobody else has seen, possibly the Fool card there. You may be way ahead. You may be always looking at things that people haven't quite touched on yet. And things do go in cycles. I mean, the kids nowadays, they dress like you did in the 80s. I'm thinking, why would you do that? But the Fool card here is going to be introducing new things to those cycles as well, because it's got to be built on as well. You're just not going to go over totally the same cycle. There's going to be twists to everything. The King of Swords may be somebody being the king who is very good at communicating, at maybe you know a few languages, maybe that's part of your job. Maybe you are, I don't know, there's so many jobs that work with what I guess is you're maybe quite scientific in some way, because Uranus and Saturn is extremely strong in scientists. It's how you normally, if you're into harmonics, it's how you would possibly identify a group of people, like 300 people, to see their charts. It'd be Saturn that would be strong in them scientists there. So maybe you're very good at cutting to the quick, very good at seeing what's real, I suppose. Yeah, difficult things for me to articulate this, but extremely good with your speech and communicating, very strong mind, very good at understanding anything, to be honest, and articulating it. I'm probably more like the one in the first pile, which is the complete opposite to this. A very sort of scientific, straightforward feel here. So, yeah, cutting to the quick is what I would say with that. You can often see that in Aries as well, even though that's not an air sign. If you go and speak to somebody who's Aries and you're trying to fluff around, you know, you're not being straight with them, they will go boom straight away and say, well, this is what you're trying to say. You're like, okay, maybe I was. This has got this feeling here. Straight, bright, articulate, intelligent, and this has got to be one of your gifts. Whatever I know, we'll build on it later, so maybe I get more of an idea, but very, very strong mind. Let's have a look at the next one. This is your sun. Basically, there's lots of different things here. It's your expression, it's your honour, whatever that is, it's your ego. But a lot of the time on your palm, it can mean, will you ever fulfil what you're here to fulfil? The Magician card, the King of Pentacles. You've got to have the Magician card, which again is the same sort of bright feeling that you've got with the Fool card and the King of Swords. It's ideas, it's concepts, it's things, it's Mercury. It's like actually getting, and with the King of Pentacles here, you've got a chance here, which is a fantastic start to this, of actually grounding the things that are in your head, your ideas, your thought processes. You want to say desires here, but it's not that. It's very much, if you are in some sort of brainy activity, as I said, why I'm using those words is because I can't think of what else to say there. You know, whether you are into some sort of research, or whether you're in education, or whether in your, whether you write, whether you teach, there's a feeling here you're on the right track with the Magician card, because you're actually bringing your thoughts out of your head into reality. And the King of Pentacles is saying you've got a chance to get where you want to be if this bit feels right at the beginning. Bright mind, the ability to be able to manifest something, and the King of Pentacles is bringing it to life. So that is a great start, and that is where your glory lies. So where your gifts lie are definitely in these two powers. A really, really strong start here. The ability to get where you feel you want to be before you kick the bucket. Okay, right, let's have a look at Saturn. Which I know we just said that Saturn is very strong in scientific minds. People that aren't really interested in possibilities and probabilities, but what is real. Saturn is Earth. They want to know what's in front of their eyes, not what is a thought. No, and that's wrong, actually. Not what is I'm thinking like an esoteric possibility. You can't totally be like that because you wouldn't be here in the first place. But let's have a look at Saturn. Four of Swords and the Six of Wands. Okay, because you've got here a very strong, it's showing up that you possibly are on the right track for manifesting something. One of what I guess are your greatest qualities, your mind, your ability to be able to communicate. You've got here on the Saturn pile here, which is how you ground things and keep them moving, which is suggested it's very positive here. The Six of Wands is that there is a degree of positivity, but the Four of Swords would suggest that you may be going through a lull, is what I would say there, because the Four of Swords is normally somebody lying down low. So maybe you've had a period of illness, or a period of being pulled out of life, or maybe some job difficulties, or maybe even a lack of confidence in some way. But it's like you're on the right track and keep going because you know that you've got the ability with the Six of Swords there. That's your Saturn mound is, you know, how do you stick through hardships? How persistent are you? How, you know, can you stand the test of time to be able to get this King of Pentacles? Good at starting things. The Fool, the Magician card, the King of Pentacles here. You can get there, but you've got to realise that life is like dips and crescents, whatever it is. Highs and lows. It's probably a better way to put that. Right, your next one is your Jupiter mound, which will be your ability to lead. To be honest, I always think of the Jupiter, but it can also be an ability to learn, to teach, to educate. Oh my gosh, that is hard for me to explain. Here, I'll stay with me, watch me struggle. The Jupiter mound, to teach, to learn, to lead. You've got here the Three of Cups and the Lover's card here. So you've no desire, I would think from these, this is like somebody who likes to sit in their bedroom and read books and understand books and then make it work in reality. But you may go through periods of being what I guess is quite disillusioned. But with the Three of Cups here and the Lover's card here, you don't have a desire to stand on a stage. You don't have a desire to be seen. You don't have a desire possibly to make loads of money doing what you do, but you do have a desire here, the Three of Cups and Lover's card, to meet people that have what I guess is a very sort of strong connections. I can't think of a different way to put that. The Three of Cups is the ability to relate and to socialise, or it can be. And the Lover's card is basically those two together. So to me, there's no need to be seen in your full glory for what you're manifesting in this lifetime. You want to meet people who you can have strong attachments with, who you feel close to. To be able to relate to people is more important than standing on some sort of platform and being idolised for what you can do, which is really interesting. This has got quite a Aquarian type feel to it, to be honest, a little bit. Quite an Aquarian, to be honest, a little bit. Sit on the fence there. Let's have a look at your mouse, which is your Venus, the part of your Venus mound here. So love. To be totally honest, I'm expecting it to be strong because of this. Can we fit these in? Let me squidge these over for you. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think you're right here. You've got Batman here, which is the Devil card, and the Chariot card. Both of these are quite grab and hold. It's like aim, fire, grab and hold with these cards here. The Chariot card is forceful and it's straightforward and it goes after what it wants. The Devil card then holds on to it. So I feel you've got a very passionate love nature. You probably have got quite a lusty mouse. They're probably your mound here, maybe quite pronounced. A really strong desire to be honest, this is saying to me where your gifts lie or where you're going to find the most satisfaction in life could possibly be, even though you've got a very, very strong mind. You may be very good in work and you may be on the right, well, you possibly are on the right track, even if you do go through periods of feeling quite worn out or a little bit disillusioned at times. I feel that you will feel satisfied when you get to the end of your life if you've had strong relationships, more so than if you've achieved in work. So your gifts tend to lie. This is difficult, isn't it? Because the title is Where Do Your Gifts Lie? Your gifts are very much in your mind, what you can do with that. And yeah, the Six of Wands there, but where you will feel most satisfied, sorry, I can't speak. Most satisfied is in your relationships and love life. And this is strong. I need to put another card on this because it is so strong. I'm wondering whether it's strong positive or strong negative. Most of the time it's on a bit of a wire. It can depend on the relationship. It can depend on where you are at that particular time when you meet somebody. They always say there's a thin line between love and hate, don't they? And this is very much it. It's because it's so passionate that you could have such strong feelings for somebody. If you found something out about them that didn't quite mix in with your idea of this person, it can almost turn, because it's quite strong, could turn quite negative in your head. As in like that's it, it's over and I hate you. That type of thing. No. I just think you're just basically looking for love, and it's an intense look, because that's batted, the Page of Cups has sort of batted that down into more innocence. Okay, well, let's have a look at your next, these are more the lines, so let's have a look at your love line. It should dwell in with this feeling here. I hope it does, to make it easier for me. Let's have a look. Okay, to me there's a feeling here, if this is your love line, it's difficult to read a love line, isn't it? But unless you can see it, it would have, this is what it would look like to me. It would be chained. It wouldn't be straight and strong, because you've got the Ten of Swords here and the Five of Swords. You can even have lines in it that like cut across it where it may seem as if there's been a break, so a couple of relationships. The Five of Wands here to me is quite, because you've got this strong feeling here, it may be relationships where lots of people are involved, or lots of searching, or lots of different types of relationships. You may have had, I don't know, a few partners trying to look for the right one. The King of Pentacles at the end makes me think that your love line, even though you're very passionate, it's got to work here with the Two Pentacles card practically as well. So your line may actually go up to your Saturn finger here, or in between maybe, because you could even have a split. You could even have one line going up here to Jupiter because of this passion and maybe a bit idealistic, and you may have another sort of fork going up here to Saturn because you've got the King of Pentacles, Emperor Ping, King of Pentacles here. So chained, possibly a couple of lines splitting the love line, maybe with this like searching feeling here and breaking in relationships. Maybe you've had a divorce, and the King of Pentacles is what you're looking for, is a soulmate that you can settle down with, possibly here with the King of Pentacles. King of Pentacles, King of Pentacles. I did say King of Tentacles once by accident too. Okay, let's go into your headline. Wow, that's difficult to translate. Because you've got here a very mental Mercury here, so, you know, you could have strong Uranus in your chart. You could be very mercurial, so you could be somebody who's searching for the truth, possibly. Somebody who's very articulate in their mind and in their speech, if there's such a thing, being having an articulate mind, because I certainly haven't got it. And to have the Ten of Cups, it is the Ten of Cups, and the Sun card here on your head, to me speaks of emotions. And the Sun card here speaks, well, that's where your fulfillment lies. So your headline may be, I need to do it this way, one of these headline that goes down to this moon mount here, because I feel that you're bright, and I'm not going to go over those sort of mercurial, airy type qualities again. I think that you are clever, but I also think as well that you would drop everything if the right person, or if that's somebody that made your heart flicker or burn. Oh my gosh, I saw some words this morning. It was something to do with numerology. It was like she shines, she burns. It was fantastic. It was something else with it. It maybe languishes, I can't remember. Somebody that makes your heart feel like it's alive, you would probably drop the rest for it, maybe. So you're going to have quite a romantic, you're going to have romantic inclinations, even though that you probably are mentally driven. Does that make sense? So your headline may be sloping is probably what I would think there. Let's have a look at the last one. Let's have a look at your lifeline. So this is, the lifeline is going to be a sort of summary here. And then we will try and see where your gifts lie. Okay, to me, your lifeline, because you've got the Eight of Pentacles here, which is somebody who persists in work or learning a skill, that type of feeling. And the Seven of Cups can often be choices. And the Six of Swords can often be a journey where you have to find your own footing, where things may not always go perfectly, but in the process you begin to learn a lot about yourself. I feel that your gifts lie in the air qualities inside you, all those things. I'm not going to repeat it again, this pile over here, but I feel that your heart lies in relationships, and I feel that throughout your life you will apply yourself in work, and then you will want to pull out and think, well, there's more to life than this, until you get that relationship. If you've got one already, I don't know, until you get a relationship that makes you feel that it's a soulful link, possibly, with these very strong cards here. You're always going to feel like something's missing, so there's going to always be that search. So your gifts lie in, this is really difficult, because you're both, you're heart-centered and you're head-centered at the same time. So you're trying to balance both here. And this lifeline suggests that struggle between trying to get life moving in a very sort of organised way, where your finances are okay. There's different choices, different options. So going one way is never going to fulfil you. You've got to find some sort of balance, I guess, here. And there will be processes in your life with the Six of Swords here where you feel like you haven't got what you want yet. And that is always going to be there. And I suppose it's just basically maybe even facilitate, is it facilitate? Swapping in between work or showing what's inside yourself, what's inside your mind to others, possibly here, and yearning for love. Possibly. Your gifts lie that you've got the chance to do both. The fact you are intelligent and bright, and you've got something to say, and you think for yourself. There's something very unique about the Fool card there and the King of Swords. There's something quite, what's the word? I was going to say autistic and authentic at the same time. I don't even know what I meant by that. They're just the words that came into my mind. What I'm trying to say is that you are individual, I suppose. Yeah, I can't think of a different word. But you're always going to struggle with regards to wanting to feel fulfilled in your heart. So your gifts lie... I'm going to ignore that one there, even though it's the strongest pile. Maybe with that one. I'm going to say that your gifts lie in your mind and your ability to share what you think, to articulate that. And you know that you do that really well. And I feel that you may actually feel, maybe with the Four of Swords there, that you're in a bit of a dip at the moment, but it will move for you. And I think because this is, the reason why I'm choosing this is because this is your sun. This is where your sun mound, where you're going to realise that you've got where you need to be, where you've expressed yourself fully. And it's got more to do with the Magician card, Mercury there, bringing these skills out than delving into relationships. So to understand that part of yourself is part of yourself, but don't give up your self-expression in the search for a mate, is what I would say. This is where your skills lie and your gifts. And the Seven of Cups suggests that you possibly don't know which one to choose. And maybe you do, with the Four of Swords, feel like, oh, that's not working. Okay, that's what I've got. I'm going to leave that there because they're long reads. And as I said on pile number 1, I do question on YouTube whether long reads are good. I don't know. And as I said, when I'm questioning this, I'm answering it to myself. I think it's okay. It depends on the age of the person watching. And I said in the first pile that, you know, kids my son's age, they can't watch films because if they're too slow. If they're quick and there's lots of visual stimulation, they're fine. If they're fast moving and choppy, they're fine because you know, they've been brought up watching YouTube and things like this anyway. So I don't know what I'm saying all this for. I'm gonna leave you there. If you like the readings, please check out the website, huluppu.co.uk. The readings come out on Sunday nights normally. Yeah, that's it. And I've also got a Patreon group if you fancy that. There's more readings on there. There's more contact. There's competitions. Sometimes put discounts out every now and then on the readings. And you've got access to readings because the normal website page that everybody else gets to, I can only put a limited amount out. Anyway, thank you for sparing. Thank you for sparing. Thank you for sharing your time with me. Oh, I need to go back to bed. Bye. Hi, pile number 3. I think you are the 2 peacocks. I'm not definite about that, but this is pile number 3. So I'm going to pretend you are to make myself feel better for not remembering. What I do is that I push them back after I've done a reading, but because my mind is still in the reading, I don't know whether I go like that or like that. I don't know. So that's when the pile number 3 can often get mucked up. But you are pile number 3 and welcome. Let's have a look. Your first one that we're looking at is your Mercurial Mount. So we're looking at your mind, basically, in all its different forms. What comes out of it, what goes into it, how you arrange it, how bright you are, how slow you are, your thoughts and your speech, your language, that type of thing. Let's see what we get. See whether it is one of your gifts. 9 of Swords. 8 of Swords. Okay. This may be just you at the moment. This to me speaks that at the moment, your mind is not your friend. It feels like you can, oh bless, you can often take a negative look, or a negative, not stance, but a negative viewpoint. You could berate yourself a little bit too much. You could talk yourself down. You could have lack of confidence. You could even have like a speech impediment, or, oh my gosh, I can't even say this. You could find it difficult to, you could be like me. You could find it difficult to articulate your thoughts. This is, I need more on this one. You could find it difficult to communicate. You could even like, for things that pop into my head, it's like a confidence. Maybe you blush or you stutter or you can't get your words out or you feel awkward at times because the 8 of Swords has been trapped inside your own head. The 9 of Swords is a bit like mind pollution. So to be looking at Mercury, which is your mind, it feels to me that something isn't quite working at the moment as you'd like it to. And sometimes in life we go through these processes. Sometimes if we spend a lot of time on our own, we can turn a bit internal. Or whether you've been knocked in work, or you never know, do you? Whether you're a kid and you've stood up in class and said something, everybody's laughed. Who knows? Like, I need to look into this. I've not done this with anybody else's cards and this, but yeah, I feel you're in a period at the moment where you feel your mind isn't working for you. I'm going to do more on this at the end. I'm going to carry on. So that's not a strength at the moment. It could be in general, but at the moment I feel you're struggling with regards to trying to take a positive outlook, trying to not beat yourself up for things that have gone wrong. And that's not going to get you anywhere. Recognising your problems are good, because then you don't make them again. But if there is any truth in that we manifest our reality, and Sagittarians, I always laugh about this because the Sagittarius people I know always win competitions, always. I know that sounds ridiculous, but there's 2 people in my life in particular that always used to win everything because they are positive. And I watch young people whose mind automatically are positive straight away. And sometimes it can be a bit insensitive, which sometimes Sagittarians and Jupiterian people can be accused of. But it's also, there's a lot to be had about that. There's a lot of good to be had out of that, I mean, in the fact that if you just get up in the morning and say, this is going to be a great day, you're more likely to have a great day, because whether you believe in manifestation or not, your mind is basically leading your way through the day. And if you look at a situation where something horrific happened, where you really fancied somebody and you realise you had toilet paper stuck in your knickers when you were walking in front of them, or underpants, I don't know. It's, you've got to learn to laugh that off. It's don't hold on to the negative bits. Mind pollution and blocked in and basically sitting in it with this one and thinking about something. So you've got to try really hard to move out of that, because without your mind, which is probably, well, it's an extremely important part of your makeup, you're not going to leave any room to be able to further yourself if your mind isn't working for you. And I know that sounds like a telling off, but I feel we all get to this stage in our life. We all have experiences like this where we feel that, oh my God, whether it's hormones, in which it can be, whether it's just a bad transit, like a Saturnian transit can make you feel quite down. It just is possibly a stage. And to ignore it is probably, to accept it and then try and ignore it is probably my way through it. That's how I would do that. You wake up in a bad mood, or somebody says something awful to you and you want to hold on to it. It's like, don't. Be Jupiterian. Think of those Sagittariuses. They're hot horses. They just trot through life. Be more like that with regards to your mind, and it will help you. Let's have a look at your sun, your honour, your ego, and how to express yourself. The Moon and the Two of Swords. So the sun on your mount on your hand is, are you going to achieve what you need to achieve? This has got a very internal feeling to it. It's got, again, a feeling the Two of Swords is blocking. And the Moon card, again, your emotions and your thought processes are in some way tripping you up, I think, at the moment. This is a really interesting pile. It's almost like a pile that is needed, if you know what I mean. It's because if something pops up in here, because it's so strong at the moment, I feel that if you just take one little thing away from this and it changes you, it could almost be like a butterfly effect or a ricochet into your life that could change quite a few things. But tarot is just opening up thoughts, isn't it, really? So let's have a look. Let's have a look at Saturn and how you apply yourself, how you manifest what you need to manifest in this lifetime. Twos again. Nine of Pentacles. Okay. I was about to say the Nine of Pentacles is a woman who's happy in her own garden. I was about to say, with this inability to basically articulate yourself, there was one summer in Wales. I was probably in between college, I can't remember, little story here. And I sat in the middle bedroom and did astrology all summer. Absolutely loved it. Went for a run every day, because I used to run quite a bit when I was young. Went for a run and then did astrology. And it's like one of those summers you can't ever get back because you don't have any worries. You've got no money, you've got nothing to worry about. If your mum's feeding you, just okay. But I actually went to book a train at one point at the end of the summer, and I couldn't speak because I hadn't spoken to enough people over that summer. I was in my head all the time. These cards that we've explained here could be that. Perhaps you're somebody who's very internal, very perceptive in life, with the Moon card there, very quite emotional but quiet with it. And I wonder at times whether you find it difficult to come out of your shell, is what I would say here. That's being happy on your own. That's being content where you are. But this can often be, and the blue colour in the cards as well, can often be somebody who has got blue in their aura. And although you are incredibly perceptive and incredibly bright, you can get depressed quite easily. So maybe you've got yourself stuck in a rut, and this is almost like a spread or a feeling here where to do something wild every now and then, which is against your normal disposition, could you do you some good? It's a really silly thing to say, but I quite enjoy getting to this state. I quite enjoy it, but I don't really. And I've got friends who are Sagittarius who drag me out of it. They make me go out and do something which, you know, on paper I'm like, no, that sounds awful, and it does me some good. They know what I'm like, and they just basically ignore me when I'm going quiet and into myself, and then they pull me out every now and then. Okay, so let's have a look at your Jupiter. So this is your ability to teach, to learn possibly, and your leadership qualities. Four of Wands, Seven of Swords. To me, again, you like stability. You like stability, and I think it's not just stability in life, because this isn't full of pentacles. You like stability in yourself. You like to be somebody who your own governor in some way. You don't like people telling you what to do, when to do anything. And I feel that here you've no desire to lead. You've no desire to be, you know, top of the, I can't say dung pile then. You've no desire to be praised or to be in the centre or to be seen as somebody great in this lifetime. I feel that you are quite an introverted person, possibly. It's a spread, I don't know, ignore the bits that don't apply. I feel that you're very creative, and I feel that you're very internal and quite emotional. And I feel that at times in life, those emotions can sometimes get the better of you, possibly. And there's no desire here. You may have lots of like cancer in you or something like that. Or Scorpio may have more desire. I don't know. Water signs don't particularly have a desire to be seen, to lead and to be the centre and to be seen by society, to be on top. And I don't think you have either. Let's have a look at love. You feel to me somebody who's quite generally centred in yourself, but too much internalising, too much time to yourself is not, there's got to be some balance there, is probably what the warning is in here. You enjoy who you are. You may also get dragged out by rather aggressive friends occasionally. Let's have a look at love. King of Pentacles, Knight of Pentacles. You could be very watery and you could be looking for somebody earthy and practical. This to me is like a quiet pile. To earthy or practical, and steady and consistent, and somebody who says what they're going to do and actually follows it through to make you feel happy. You've got what I guess is, you could have a strong mouth, is what I call it here. You could have quite a large mouth there, because although you feel watery, to be honest, what I would say here, your partner may have a strong natural sex drive. By natural, I mean that it's quite straightforward, quite lusty, quite earthy. Taurus, Capricorn, especially, I think, are sex is sex and it's needed, that type of thing. And I feel that that type of partner who isn't overly emotional will do you well. And I feel that, to me, to have that there should be saying that it's your Venus mound that is practical and strong, so it could be that, but it could be also a partner that you're looking for, because you don't feel like that here. You feel more emotional, more watery. You could be both. Cancer, Capricorn type feeling. So, and I'm looking at what your gifts are here. Your gifts are to be, I won't say self-regulated, because I think you sometimes tip into being too introverted, but I would definitely say that you're happy with who you are and you like to be left alone to make your own decisions. So there's an independence here, and there's a very admirable quality to not want to succeed with what is seen as outwardly acceptable type activities or rewards. You don't care about flash cars. You don't care about a great job and being seen in that great job by your friends. You don't want a giant house. You just want the good life. And I'm saying that because it's a programme that was on TV when I was young, really young. Just like to put that in. My mum and dad used to love it, and it was people who had their own garden and they made their own vegetables and they were good mates with the people next door and there was lots of laughs. It's that type of feeling that may make you happy, and that's where your gift lies, in not yearning. You may not have the strong desire nature as other people. So I suppose on like a roundabout feeling of incarnations, you may be at that point where you don't desire strongly like others. I really dislike my strong desire nature, but I secretly love it because it's fun. But I always think I'm going to come back, and I feel here that you're quite content to either way, which is lovely. Let's change the cards. Let's have a look at your love line. Okay, well, let's have a look here at the love line. You've got here the Devil card, you've got the Death card, and you've got the Hierophant card. Your love line is a line that travels to it on this hand. It travels up here, and depending where, there's more to it than this. If it's change, it can often mean it's changeable. Your love life could be changeable if it's chained, but it can also mean as well if it goes up here, it can mean that, because it's a Saturn finger here, it can often mean that you have a practical approach to love. Sometimes it can go up the Jupiter finger. Going up to here is very optimistic, very sort of, you fall in love quite easily, you've got an open heart. If it goes all the way up here, it can be a little bit too much, a little bit expectant, a little bit more over-emotional possibly. And sometimes you can have like bits that split, like a trident, and you can have lines that go through it too. This, to me, the Devil card, the Hierophant, and the Death card, well, these two particularly are earthy. So I feel that your love line, again, it has to work. You've got Pentacle cards up here on your Venus. So love has to work for you. So there's a very strong, watery Capricorn feeling in this. Sorry, watery, earthy. I'm saying that because I'm thinking Cancer Capricorn all the way through this. The Devil card and the Hierophant card here suggest that you will attach to somebody and you will... There's a conventional feeling here as well. It's almost like the Devil card likes commitment, so there can be... The commitment is actually being chained, which doesn't actually mean that really with what I'm going to say next. I'm just trying to explain myself here so I don't sound rotten. It can be tied to something in particular, and often, a ring binds, doesn't it? Yeah. I'm going to leave it there. The Hierophant card can often be something traditional. So that is, again, a marriage. That is, a proper, what's the word I'm looking for? Symbolic, traditional, ceremony. Woohoo! Ceremony there. The Death card here, possibly with regards to your love, I would guess there may be a couple of lines through it where you've had experiences in love where big relationships have ended, so it may be a divorce is what that would say to me. And what you're looking for is somebody to be steady with you, somebody who can commit and deliver. And what I mean deliver is to be quite fixed, to be with you, to not be all over the place, to not like having affairs or eyes all over the place, somebody that likes the good life with you. So that to me is what I suggest, or what I guess is where your love line is leading, to perhaps the Saturn mount, and I feel you may have a few lines through it. And I also feel with this being your Venus mount here, that you may have a strong sex drive, but it needs to be somebody who is consistent with you. A long-term relationship, I think, is more likely to get you going than lots of affairs. Let's have a look at the... headline. 7 of Cups and 9 of Wands. Again, a feeling of being... Okay, right, okay. The 7 of Cups is... The cups can be water or the moon mount. So your headline can go straight across. I was saying in the other spreads, I had a friend we used to laugh at this because apparently monkeys have... Sorry, I'm showing you here. Your headline can go straight across, and it means you're more practical, more sort of methodical with your thought processes and with possibly with your actions as well. But sometimes it can join onto the headline and give you what's called a simian line, which is straight across. And I had a friend who had that, and we used to joke with her because we said that that's what monkeys have. Interlinking the head and the heart together, I suppose, here. What you've got here is possibly a headline that may actually go down to your moon mount, because you've got the Seven of Cups here. So that can mean that with the moon card up here already, with regards to how you're going to be recognised in this world, which you're not interested in apparently, is through your imagination, your creativity, through your emotions and your insight and your compassion. And then Nine of Wands here, possibly next to the headline here. Nine of Wands. I don't know how to interpret this. Maybe quite a defensive feeling, because if you are quite emotional, you're going to be quite sensitive yourself. Hence why you may withdraw from society occasionally. So you could be very artistic in your own space, but you have to be on your own. You can't have people interrupting you. I feel that what you're looking for is somebody. You've got quite a lusty nature possibly here with the Pentacle cards and the Hierophant and the Devil card, but that's only going to be allowed out. You're only going to display that if you trust your partner, if there's some commitment there from them, is possibly what I would say there. Let's go back to the other cards here. So your lifeline, this is like a summary of what we can see, hopefully, and I'll try and answer the question. Your lifeline has got the Six of Swords, the King of Wands, and the Empress, which is beautiful. The Empress to me is exceptionally gorgeous here, because I have a feeling here that you possibly don't see your beauty. You possibly don't see how creative you are. You possibly don't see how, and what you give to other people with just contact, with just being who you are in this pile here. I feel that you're confident in yourself on your own, but when you go out in society, just because of these feelings here of the Nine of Pentacles and the Four of Wands, steady in your own little space, and the Nine of Wands here and the, oh my God, what is it, Five of Swords here, that you're confident in yourself, but when you go out in public, you feel like you're not enough, maybe. I don't know here. You've got a lot of healing in here. You've got the King of Wands, which is like confidence and becoming more of who you are, making your decisions and moving forward with them, and being very comfortable in your more emotional nature. And you've got the Empress card here. So for somebody who has the moon on their sun line, to have the Empress there, that's expressing your beauty, which may be methodical and slow moving and consistent, but everybody is different. And if we were all on stage tap dancing and looking absolutely gorgeous, incredibly confident, how dull would life be after 10 minutes of that? You know, you somebody who is quietly chipping away and watching, and I feel with the Empress card here and the Moon card here, there's something very subtle about you that is almost chipping away. When it's time for you to put on the table what you've got to offer, I think that people will be, I'm not going to say taken aback because that sounds insulting, but I think that people are like, oh, you're a dark horse. There's something subtly beautiful, consistent, persistent in here. To me, it's got a very earthy, watery feel in it, is all I can say here. So I'm going to stop that there. I feel that you'll go through a process of being in your, of accepting your power with the King of Wands here, through possibly healing, maybe a few difficult nudges, or, you know, being pushed over a few times in life, or that's how you may perceive it. And the Empress card is when you will come into your glory. I can give you an example of this before I go. This is like a complete jealousy thing on my part here. Are you ready for this? I'm going to admit to this one. There was a girl, and I've always quite liked art. And there was a girl in my class, I'm not going to say her name, I can't say it just in case she for some reason watches this. There was a girl in my class who was very quiet. I wasn't particularly quiet in school, I was giddy, and I used to love art, and I wasn't persistent with it, but I enjoyed it, and it's something I would like to have been good at. Anyway, she was very quiet, never really noticed her. She had a hair that was like far below the line of her bottom. And yeah, never spoke to anybody. She had friends, but she never really spoke to anybody. So I never really noticed her, to be honest, but I knew her. And her brother, I know her brother as well, who was also very quiet, very subdued, very much, but she wasn't somebody who was quiet and easygoing. She may have been, but they'd stick up for themselves if needed, both of them. Anyway, she got some sort of job with the BBC shooting animation, and I was like, oh my gosh, she was such a dark horse. And I can remember still, I go into a place where her work is up and I still feel like, which is probably just plain jealousy, you're so lucky, I think is what I'm thinking, to do that. Why did I not see that, you little sneaky dark horse in the corner of the art class? This to me feels like you, and I feel that somebody's going to look back at you and say, oh my God, you hid that. When your magnificence comes out and you don't care about being seen, you wouldn't care whether it was the BBC or whether it was that you were doing something artistic with a local school. It doesn't really matter to you, I don't think. But I feel this is very subtle, very strong. It's almost like a tsunami. You know the tsunamis that you see? When I actually Google these, because I don't know, I like to scare myself. They don't never seem so high, do they? They don't, I'm going to do it this way. They don't seem so high, do they? But there's a power behind them that basically goes, you know, through all those like towns and power plants and whatever. It's a power without the height in here. It's like I keep myself quiet, but I'm powerful. So the gifts that you have are to be persistent, to make the most of your creativity, to make most of your quiet life and to enjoy it, which I think you do already. I don't think you need me to say this, and to realise that that's your strength. What was that one there? Your creativity, again, it's, you know, your emotions, your creativity are part of what's going to make you feel fulfilled, I would say here. And I feel that you may be a late bloomer. Yeah, fantastic. And the Empress card is there that you will flourish. You will flourish in your greatness that you may be questioning now with the twos in here. So that's what I've got. That's where your gifts lie, I would say. So if you do work on your own at home, or you know you're quite quiet and you never really feel that you're fitting in school and people didn't notice you, yeah, we know. We all know all about you. You're going to be the one that shines. You're going to be the one that's going to be like, oh yeah. People say, I remember her. Look at her. She's magnificent. She was quiet, but look at her now. Or him. So that's what I've got. I'm going to leave that there. If you like the readings, please check out the website. It's huluppu.co.uk. I put readings out on Sunday night. I do have a Patreon group where there's a lot of contact with. We have free readings in there. We have readings every week at least. And lots of other things, competitions and bits and bobs, and not more contact. So if you're interested in that. But I put the readings out on Sunday night. I've said that, haven't I? Because if there any left from Patreon have first choice. They just get the readings first. A nice bunch of people. And if I have some left, I'll put them out so that everybody gets one if they want one. Anyway, I'm going to love you and leave you. Thank you for spending your time with me. Bye.